is up, guys? It's Chris with Everydaychris, and welcome back to my channel, the #1 place for Tesla, tech, and everyday life. Today's video is all about the Tesla Model Y's HEPA filter and how to install one yourself if you don't have it. Now, if you haven't gotten your Tesla Model Y yet or know anything about Tesla, Tesla has something super cool with most of their vehicles built in that not many other car manufacturers have, and they call it Biodefense mode, or BDM. Not sure why when I hear BDM, I think bowel movement. Anyways, what is BDM? It essentially allows hospital-grade, purified, premium air to filter from outside to inside of your cabin. It's good for coronavirus, seriously, the poop smell on the 5 freeway, that smelly gas smell, and any other smells. I did a more detailed video on particle matter and how having a good air purifier for your home is so important, so make sure to check out that video. Tesla even did these amazing tests with fine particles to see if it leaks into the cabin versus other car manufacturers out there, only to show that it indeed does purify the air. And many other tests show how well the HEPA filter works in Teslas, which is awesome. So you can see how excited I was when I found out that the Model Ys would be getting these HEPA air filters as well. But with Teslas, things are always random and changing, and I was sad and super bummed out when I found out that the HEPA filters were not available yet when we got our car. And that was the super unfortunate part, because where we live, pretty much anywhere in California, wildfires are a huge thing, and that bonfire smell gets old real fast. Not to mention how toxic it is. I also suffer from allergies, so I always wanted a HEPA filter in my car to filter out the pollen and all that dander. There were rumors out there that a retrofit would be available soon for the Tesla Model Y, where you can order it online, just like how you do it with the older Model X's. But it's been over a year and there was no update. So if you didn't know, Tesla owners are a different breed. If things don't get done, they do it themselves. So someone suggested to just buy the parts and try to install it ourselves. Genius. Now my car is a March 2021 build, and Tesla started adding the HEPA filters to Model Ys starting around July 2021 or so. So I missed the HEPA filters by a few months. You'll know you have the Biodefense mode or the HEPA filters really easily because on the climate control, you'll see a Biodefense mode button. But if you don't have that button, you probably don't have the HEPA filter, which means you need to go and check to see if you can install one yourself. Now what's awesome is you can buy all the parts separately through the Tesla app, pick them up from your service center and install it yourself. There are a few issues with this, but I'll talk about that in a second. Now, a few things to keep in mind before we do this: there is no official retrofit available yet, which means if anything goes wrong, Tesla won't help you, but I don't see anything going wrong. You can purchase the HEPA filter parts and install it yourself. However, do so at your own risk. Doing this retrofit will also not void your warranty, but it will reduce your airflow by a lot when you have recirculating air off. But the fan strength is completely normal with recirculating air on. And fourth, because it is not official, there's a high chance you may not get a Biodefense mode button, but I'm working on it. Now I'm an everyday guy, which means I don't have professional tools or anything like that. I don't know what rivets are and guide holes, so I had to learn all that stuff. Luckily for you, I'll explain this all to you so you know. So first, let's check and make sure you have the guide holes to perform this retrofit. So here is the apron. This is the old apron that does not have the HEPA filter. As you can see, it's half open here, closed here. So we're gonna see if this is gonna be an easy retrofit or a difficult retrofit, because I wanna see if we have the mounting points. I'm gonna go and lift this up very easily. So now that that's off, we're looking for the screws here, and I think we're good actually. As you can see, for me, you can see that it is threaded. So the screw here is threaded, which is good. And I believe this piece is for the little plastic piece there. Let's check this side. And yeah, we have another piece that's threaded right here. And then we have this here as well. They made it threaded. I don't know why, because maybe they thought they were gonna put the HEPA filter in, but they didn't yet. But yeah, look, it does fit. But then some other of you guys might not have this, or you may have this with just a hole. That is when you're gonna need a rivet nut, and you can use a tool or do it by hand. A tool does seem way easier for like 40 bucks to save yourself some hassle. but the rivet nut is gonna act as a guide hole, so then you're just gonna have to find a smaller screw size. So don't worry, I'm gonna go and talk about all that. And lastly, there are people who have no holes. In this case, you'll need to drill a 5mm hole in the metal using a drill bit, then use the rivet nut. Or you can do what someone suggests by using a ton of 3M very high bond double-sided tape and doing it this way. Now this method is the most risky and the most work since everything has to be perfect. If you are on option 3 with no holes, I would just skip this retrofit and wait for an official retrofit from Tesla since it seems like way too much work. Now onto the parts for the installation. To order the parts, it was super simple. I simply went into the Tesla app, went to service, clicked other, and typed this in word for word, and I'll make sure to put everything in the description below. You just have to say you want to request OTC or over-the-counter purchase and put all the item numbers. Oh yeah, if you guys are loving my content, as always, like and subscribe, and consider dropping me some YouTube super thanks to support this channel so I can provide you guys with more awesome videos. It's right next to the thumbs up button. Sometimes Tesla just randomly changes the part numbers, so just make sure the person you're messaging is aware that it is for a HEPA Model Y system, because the apron and duct item number I listed originally was different than what was given. Again, don't ever say retrofit because that confuses them because there isn't an official retrofit available. Just say it's for the HEPA Model Y. If they don't, just cancel the request and put it in again, and you can always try changing the service center as well. Then simply follow up with them in a week or so by messaging them through the app and see if the parts are ready for purchase, and you just pick it up and then you're good to go. Again, the parts can change slightly like the duct and the apron, so be sure to verify when you get to the service center and pick up the parts that is indeed for a HEPA filter. It's crazy how cheap these parts were. For 3 parts, it only cost me $114. If you compare that to the official Model X retrofit, it would cost a whopping $500. I'd say that's a steal. And for my installation, aside from the Tesla parts, I only needed 2 M6 bolts that are 40mm in length and 2 M6 25mm washers, all of which I had lying around in my toolbox. So we got the replacement parts for the HEPA retrofit. It comes in 3 pieces, 1 super long piece, and this is apparently the entire HEPA filter already pre-installed. We have the apron here, and you can tell it's for the HEPA because it goes all the way across, unlike the other one where it's just half of the vents. And lastly, we have the HEPA air duct. HEPA duct this must be the part number. And lastly, we have the assembly here. Here's the part number. This one is the big one. So these are the bolts I have to kind of install in there. And it has little mounting points here. So inside of here is the HEPA filter. It's much smaller than the Model X, but it spans the entire piece here. So when I do flip it over, we have the assembly here. Here's the part number. And this is the filter. And the duct goes into here, make sure it seals properly. So I did something dumb. I was just looking at the screw sizes. Again, I don't know what an M5 or M6 is. I'm not a man, I don't know the specific screw sizes. So I was trying to play around with one of the screws and I ended up dropping one inside of here. It was here and it dropped in here. And I'm hoping it's somewhere easily accessible because unlike normal engine cars, it's just a metal plate at the bottom. I think I'm gonna remove this. I'm assuming I just moved these bolts here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So bolt in here. And hopefully it just pops out and I could just remove it and see if I can get it. Looks like it's attached to this as well. I mean, I have so many bolts in here. I thought, oh, maybe I don't even have to go to Home Depot. I have all these bolts and washers and stuff. But I'm starting to sweat because I don't know if it's a bad thing that a giant screw, I mean, it's not a sharp screw, so that's good. I don't know what happens if it's just chilling around in the bottom of my car, if it's gonna touch anything. I'm just gonna see if I can remove this piece. I'm just using a 10mm Allen socket wrench thing, whatever this is. I mean, I have tools. I don't know what this is called. What is it? Allen wrench? Hex socket? Oh, so it was super easy. So I just had 4 bolts in order to remove the frunk. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the frunk and see if I can get that screw that I dropped. So here, and it just removes really easily. So there's 2 screws here, 2 screws there, and don't forget about this plastic attachment here. It is held by little clips here, so just be careful you don't break these. If you pull it straight up, it should be good. So then you just have to remove this wire. That is for the child safety feature here. Glows in the dark and also lights up. But yeah, it attaches right there. So here it is in all its glory. Now I dropped the screw. I was like dingle dingle dingle, and I dropped it here and went boom 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 boom. So it's somewhere in here, but I have no idea where it is. I found it, look! There it is! You see that? I just have to get it.
A few moments later.
So this is the screw I dropped. Is this an M5 or an M6? What does M even stand for, millimeters? I mean, to be honest, I feel like I can just do the retrofit now. I mean, I wanted to make a whole beautiful video, but I mean, I took the B-roll footage. You guys know what the HEPA filter looks like. All I have to do is remove this air duct and then install the HEPA filter and I'm done. Here we go. So here is the old air duct. As you can see, there's a mounting point here. This is just plastic, I believe, just kind of goes in there. Okay, so removing this was insanely easy. It was just one 10mm bolt. And I thought I had an issue with the screw, but it just kind of pops right off. As you can see, this is the air duct. That's where all the good old air is coming from. Super simple, actually. So here is the HEPA duct. There's no like foam surrounding it like the other one, but it looks like it's the exact same positioning. It's just gonna anchor to that screw there on that one, and then that screw on that white one up there too. Comparing the difference, it's really crazy. So this is actually really big. However, the HEPA duct is way smaller. Did I get the right one? I'm assuming it's because it needs to filter the air, so it needs a smaller intake. I mean, it's so easy. It's too easy. Look, I can do it with one hand. Anchored in there, anchored in there. This screw goes into here, see right there, perfect. And then this plastic piece goes right into there. So everything snapped right in, that black piece snapped in. Make sure the screws, one screw there is in, one screw up there on the top is in, and then just be careful when you are doing this. Luckily, the orange wire isn't gonna be in the way because the screws here, so even if I tighten it down, it shouldn't be too big of a problem. Anything orange in a Tesla means it's some sort of high voltage thing, so don't cut it, otherwise you're gonna be screwed. I am sweating. I'm doing this in my garage. It is hot. If you have the threads and holes, M6 is gonna work perfectly for you. However, if you don't have the threads, or if you have the holes but it's not threadable, you're gonna have to use that rivet. And a rivet, like I said before, is gonna act as the threads to kind of put a screw in. And for that, we're gonna need an M5, so you're gonna need something smaller. So here is the HEPA filter. As you can see, it is massive. It looks like if you want to replace the HEPA filter, it comes in two pieces and you're gonna unscrew all these ones. Luckily, when you get it from the service center, it already comes with a brand new one in here. Oh, it's so much heavier too. It's gonna affect my range. No, I'm just kidding. But it already comes with one in there. I'm gonna try to line this small black tab. Okay, so it's installed. It was so easy because I had the holes. Pretty much, I lined up the plastic hole there, and then I lined up that there. And around this side, it was super simple as well, and then that's it. So let's see if the screws fit and then I'm done. If all goes well, that's probably easier than replacing the cabin air filter. So I have this here. I don't know if it's an M6, however, 40mm, 55mm washer, or screw washer thing. It looks like when I did it, it fit. So as you can see, I do have another one that's almost the same. It's just a little bit longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if it fits more securely than this one on the left. So that's super stable and secure. Like, it is in tight. So the longer bolt did work, no problem. I'm assuming that's the 40mm one because it actually felt more snug. I was able to get a few more turns with the screwdriver. However, this thing is on so solid. One washer required, that's it. And I think I'm done. That's it. Holy, I thought it would take forever to do. Now I just gotta put the front piece back in. Don't forget to reattach this thing in there. So easy to do, it's just a little plug. You just plug it in there and that's it. And then it just goes in, 4 bolts in there, and then put that new HEPA apron in and I'm done. Whenever I do these type of tools, whenever I use this thing, I feel like such a man. I'm like, look at me using my tools. I know how to do it and crank it the opposite way. It's not working because I need 2 hands to do it. But that sound it makes, what is this called? Wrench. Racketing wrench, ratchet, a ratchet. It's called a ratchet. Okay, so 4 bolts are in, saying goodbye to the old one, goodbye. Here's the new one right here. And it is upside down. I repeat, it is upside down. Oops, almost forgot about this piece. Make sure you put this piece back. Open, push it in, and then you snap it closed with pushing the button. So once that's in, you just have to push the button. And then now it's secured. And it looks legit. Now all I need is the Biodefense mode button. Sweet mercy, no wonder I was sweating. It's 96 in here. So all the other users do recommend 40 millimeters, and I think this is the 40 millimeter one. So I want to test out how strong the airflow is with the HEPA filter without Biodefense mode, as well as the differences that happen when it is on. I also want to see how long it takes to cool the cabin. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that cabin overheat protection is off. Okay. We're gonna let the car heat up in the sun for a little bit. So right now we're on auto at 62. Looks like it's on outside air, as you can see. And it just switches to inside air real quick. So here's the airflow with the inside air. The AC is on. It's still pretty hot in here. And again, if it is hot, I mean, the best thing to do is to roll down the windows, get some fresh air in here, and then put it onto outside air to get cooler air. But as you can see with the cooler air, this is the airflow with the speed 10 with the HEPA filter. Which is very, very slow. And we're gonna switch it to inside air. Much faster. So it hasn't been that long, only been 3 minutes, and the interior, the temperature has decreased significantly. So just because you have the HEPA filter doesn't mean you're screwed, because the air is still cool, and it does cool the car in like 2 to 3 minutes in over 100-degree weather inside, which is totally fine. The system is very smart and knows when to turn on the recirculating air, increasing the airflow. So again, like I said before, I did not install the OEM Tesla pleated cabin air filters yet, which increases the airflow. Right now I have the X-Technor HEPA filters in there, which I love. However, it does decrease the airflow a little bit. Well, it's not too bad. Just because I don't have the button, it's not the end of the world. Again, when you are on inside air, there's vents and ducts inside of the car that recirculates the air on the inside. So you get total normal fan speed, no problem. However, when you're on outside air, that's when it uses the duct in the front to bring in air from the outside, and that's what that HEPA filter is for. Before, there was no filter at all, so it's just bringing in air without even being filtered, and that's why the cabin air filter has to filter that. So it's very beneficial and it's super helpful, which is why I think the Biodefense mode button is really helpful, because not only is it like a button that you press where it maxes out the fan speed, it also remaps your fan curve so that on level 5 it will be more powerful than say a level 8. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get my hands on the Biodefense mode button. Again, it's not a deal breaker or anything, but it would be nice to have. One user on the forum suggested creating a service ticket and say you don't have that button, but you have the filter, and it seemed that that may work. But another user tried it and it didn't work for him. So me personally, I tried creating a ticket and told them that I have the HEPA filter, but for some reason I just don't have the button. So we'll see what happens. Got the Febreeze here. We're gonna test to see if I could smell it. So right now I have it on recirculating air off. Got the wife, she's gonna spray the Febreeze. Spraying it, it's all here. Last time I did this test with the X-Technor air filter, I was able to smell the Febreeze still. I do not smell anything. Definitely clean. I don't smell anything. We're gonna go ahead and turn on this one. So now we are recirculating air, and yeah, nothing. Lower the fan speed. It's too hot in here. Increase the fan speed to 10. Give me fresh air. Also, if you have the HEPA filter already, you still have to replace your cabin filter as well as your HEPA filter every 2 to 3 years. So let's talk about how to replace your cabin air filter as it's changed in the newer Model Ys. Check out my video on how to replace your cabin air filter if you have a Model 3 or the older Model Ys, as this applies to the older housing layout. So my old one was the X-Techner one. It's awesome because it has carbon pellets in it, helps reduce odor, as well as their HEPA air filter, even though it's not a real HEPA grade air filter. It definitely did reduce some of the smells when I did the Febreeze test a long time ago. However, it did reduce the airflow. So this time I got the regular cabin air filters. This one is from Freshener, and they have the HEPA carbon one as well as the normal pleated ones. And this should restore some of my airflow. With the newer Model Ys, it seems super simple. You just have to remove the black felt piece on the left-hand side, replace the cabin air filters, and you're done. However, for me at least, it looks like it's like in the way. So this plastic piece is still in the way, which means I still have to remove it. I mean, 2 years my butt. I replaced mine not too long ago, and look how nasty this is. This is disgusting. So I definitely recommend you replace yours. In she goes. The airflow is going to the left. The yellow is supposed to go towards the airflow. So it's supposed to go in this way, even though there's no directions on here, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. Which way the airflow goes, I believe it's that way. All right, so that is installed. Let's go ahead and check the airflow real quick. So again, the biggest issue with the HEPA filter was that the airflow is kind of weak when the HEPA filter is engaged. Oh yeah, I definitely increased the airflow. So with the HEPA filter, plus the pleated air filter that I have, it increased the airflow for sure. Highly recommend it. When you do get the HEPA filter installed, you use the pleated filters, the one that Tesla has, or you could do the one I have, which is the Freshener one. Overall, no button isn't the end of the world, especially after changing my cabin air filters that increase the airflow by a lot. However, again, try messaging the service center and see if you can get a mobile service technician, which can enable the button for you. They have to physically connect their laptop to your car and change the filter type from regular to HEPA, and that's it. This is so much cheaper than an official Tesla retrofit. However, you do miss out on a Biodefense mode button. But if you suffer from allergies and need a HEPA filter, this is a great, cheap, and easy way to do this. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.